were selected, parents trying to secure special educational needs assessments, children who had their SEN carried out but didn't get the help they needed, schools who can't afford to provide the help that is needed, teachers struggling to cope with the amount of children who need more from them. The number of issues like this that I have dealt with over the years must have been in their thousands. And the reason why it's so very simple is education for children matters. It matters that they are getting the support they need to get a rounded education. It matters that the schools are getting the funding that they need to provide that rounded education. And it matters that parents know their child is getting the best chance at life in the future. And that's so very, very critical to this debate. With all this in mind, there's little wonder that there are times when restrictive intervention is, I understand, needed. But you have an overworked teacher attempting to deal with a child who is misunderstood and frustrated and unable to bond with the teacher or the classroom assistant, as there are too many in the class. The frustration turns to violence, and the child is in danger of hurting themselves or someone nearby. Then I believe action is needed. However, there are limits on restraint, and it must always be the last option available and fully considered. Everyone who has spoken so far, Madam Deputy Speaker, has referred to the need for training and resources and the capability of the schooling system to respond. Teachers do and must have the knowledge and the training as to how and when other methods can be employed, and if there is no option, how to safely restrain. It is my belief that there is a lot of confusion as to the best and appropriate use due to a lack of guidance, and I join with colleagues in asking for that guidance to be released, as the guidance for restrictive intervention for adults has also been released. I was saying to the honourable gentleman who introduced the debate there beforehand that I had some experience at a school I visited just before Christmas, where a young fellow was difficult, will we say. It took two teachers to supervise him and restrain him, and there was a degree of violence that took place. But the reason why I make that illustration is to show what we do need is to have, and that school they did have it, where they had the training and the resources and the teachers available, and that was good to have that. I read a briefing supplied to me by one concerned body called the Challenging Behaviour Foundation, whose research has thrown up a few surprising statistics, and they're certainly noteworthy of quotation today. The main source of data is the 5 live investigation FOI to local authorities in England, Scotland and Wales. 13,000 physical restraints over the previous 3 years, 731 injuries, and only a fifth of the authorities replied, so the information may not be the total picture. Another source of data was a survey conducted by the Challenging Behaviour Foundation. 88% of the 204 respondents to CBF said that their disabled child had experienced physical restraint, with 35% reporting it happened regularly. 71% of families completed the CBF survey said that their child had experienced seclusion. 21% reported that this was taking place on a daily basis. These figures are challenging, Madam Deputy Speaker. They tell us what the real story is. I do believe there is a better way of preventing these kinds of issues, and the issuing of guidance is certainly a step, but it isn't the answer. Classrooms must have sufficiently trained staff members to deal with these scenarios without disrupting the other 29 children in the class. Children who need additional help and need assessed, and those assessments must result in extra help and support. Parents must also understand what is happening and be able to provide a helpful insight as to the best ways to help the child to understand. There are so many factors that this guidance, which has been on the cards since 2014, must instead be off the cards and into schools urgently, as the first step to ensuring that the education of our children, every child, is the best that it can be. Thank you.
Yeah. Chris Law.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. As we know, children and young people are one of the most vulnerable groups in our society. Wherever they live, wherever they go to school, wherever they spend their free time, they require care and protection.